Hello everyone, this is Jag. Well, in this video, I'm going to get to the bottom of using wood chips in your garden. And a lot of people are concerned about using wood chips, that they're like pests, even termites, and termites gonna invade your garden, move into your house, destroy your house, or wood chips gonna provide fire hazard and even lock up nitrogen in the soil. Well, some of these claims are true, while others are a total baloney. So let's get started and get to the bottom of this. I've been using wood chips in my garden for a really long time, for over 10 years. And let me tell you, I have made some mistakes using wood chips. It's not really the fault of wood chips, it's how you use it. If you use it incorrectly, it can really have a negative impact on your garden, and we don't want that. Now let's first talk about using fresh wood chips versus aged wood chips. I thought aged wood chips were better until I actually let them age for about a year and a half. I thought it'll be better to decompose my wood chips a little bit before I use them. That way, once I apply them in my garden and around my trees, they will instantly try to provide organic matter and decompose even further. However, there's one thing I did not expect that bit me real hard. Just about a month after applying the wood chips around my trees, the leaves of my trees were getting eaten, and I was wondering what is happening. So I tried to mitigate the situation, tried to analyze and see what's going on. Went out there in the night, and there were a bunch of earwigs munching on the leaves of the trees. Where did they come from? Yep, they had made their home in the decomposing wood chips. So I had to apply iron phosphate all around my trees to get rid of earwigs and resolve that issue. And for that reason, now I only use the fresh wood chips. Now you can use aged or decomposed wood chips. You can have your chickens go through them and then eat the bugs and eggs off of them, and then you can use them. You have to just gather them up. So if you don't have chickens or you don't want to spend that time to rake them and gather them, use fresh wood chips. Now I have a separate composting system for my chickens where I add all the kitchen scraps and wood chips where they can go, and I use those as a source of fertilizer, not as much as mulch, but as a source of fertilizer because there's also chicken manure in there as well. So it is true, the wood chips do harbor pests, and in my experience, they actually attract earwigs, pill bugs, wood lice, and earthworms. Now, earthworms are beneficial, and the other three can also help in decomposition of your wood chips as well. Unless they become so large, the population becomes so large, of especially the earwigs, that can cause problems for your trees or your plants. So mitigation might be required if the population of earwigs grow too large. However, termites is not really an issue. It's a popular misconception. If you add wood chips into your garden, all the termites are gonna be attracted and your garden is gonna be full of termites and your house is gonna be invaded with termites. It's not necessarily true. Most of the termites are subterranean termites. They live really underground and they're not really attracted to the wood chips. Wood chips might provide them with some sort of a shelter, but so do other types of mulches. So termites are always around. Wood chips don't really make the termite issue worse. Let me just say that. So termite is not really an issue when using wood chips. Once I bought wood chips and the delivery came with pieces of pallet wood, nails, and painted wood. It had stuff like this, huge pieces of pallet wood and even painted wood in there. So I could not really use it. I had to just give it away. So be careful about where your wood chips come from and what's included in your wood chips. And also, do not use any treated or modified wood chips. You don't want any unnatural stuff ending up in your garden. Now, another issue that I had using aged wood chips was that when I applied them, I started having fungal problem in my trees. The leaves of the trees were getting spotted and they were infected with fungus. So I had to use a copper spray to get rid of that. So I contacted UC Davis to help mitigate the fungus issue. They came, they took tissue samples, and they concluded this fungus is usually found in almond orchards. Guess what it came from? The arborists had chipped some of the trees from an almond orchard and brought the wood chips over. And that's where the fungus came from. Now, I might be coming off as a naysayer when it comes to wood chips. I'm really not. I've successfully used wood chips in my garden over a period of years, including some mistakes. So I'm just sharing my experience with some mistakes so you don't make those mistakes, and also some pros and cons of using wood chips. So you can use the wood chips correctly into your garden and avoid a lot of issues. As you might see, there's a pile of wood chips back there, and the best way to get free wood chips is from your local arborist. I have a separate video on how to get free wood chips as well, so check that out if you're interested. However, since COVID happened since 2020, a lot of people have started gardening, and the supply of wood chips by arborists is kind of drying up. Everybody's asking for wood chips. So I've been asking local arborists to come over and drop the wood chips, but nobody's coming by because they are finding people that are much closer where they can go and drop off the wood chips. Now, wood chips have many benefits, and the best benefit that I like about wood chips is weed suppression. And as an organic gardener and farmer, weeds are a huge problem, and we don't use preen or Roundup. So wood chips help a lot to suppress the weeds around the plants. I love using wood chips in the walkways around the strawberries, and that keeps the weeds down and makes the experience very enjoyable to walk down the aisles of wood chips as well. Now, I also mulch around my trees with wood chips as well, and what you don't want to do is use volcano mulching. You don't want to pile up the wood chips right up to the trunk of the tree. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Well, check this out. I keep my wood chips about 6 inches away from the trunk of my tree. That way the wood chips are not touching the trunk of the tree, because if they do, they can cause crown rot and also harbor disease as well. Check it out. I have so many weeds everywhere, but where my tree is, right around my tree, there are no more weeds. And that's because of the wood mulch I've applied all around the tree. Now, there are many other benefits of using wood chips. They help to keep the moisture in the soil, they help to keep the roots cool, they prevent erosion, and in the long term, they decompose and also provide organic matter and nutrients to the soil. But what about locking nitrogen in the soil? Well, that also depends on how you use wood chips. Now, when you use these wood chips as a source of mulch, they only steal about 1 inch of nitrogen from the top of your soil. So that's not really hurting the plants, or it's not going to cause big problems, and the wood chips decompose naturally. The problems occur when you mix wood chips right into your soil, especially where you plant trees or your plants. And that way, your plants or your trees will be deprived of nitrogen, because all the nitrogen will be locked up by wood chips while they decompose. So never mix wood chips into your soil. I made a separate video on things you should never bury into your garden, so check that out as well. Now, when mulching around your plants or trees with wood chips, never use more than 3 inches of wood chips. Just keep it about 2 to 3 inches, because excess wood chips can also smother your plants and your trees. Now, you might be thinking, what about some people that actually use logs or wood chips at the bottom of their raised beds? Now, that depends on how deep they are. If they're out of the root zone, that really doesn't matter. So if you bury wood chips 3 feet away from your plants, that really doesn't matter. Or if your raised beds are really deep, I know some people have really deep raised beds, and the logs or wood chips are about 3 feet deep, doesn't really matter. Now, what about wood chips as a fire hazard? Now, the fire hazard is a total baloney. Now, I can understand if you live way out in the country and you're exposed to wildfires, that, yeah, if a wildfire approaches your property and you have a bunch of wood chips, yes, that will provide fuel for the fire. But as a home gardener or living in an urban setting, I would not be concerned at all. Now, one of the reasons why we use wood chips is that they decompose and provide organic matter into the soil. In order to do that, they have to be moist. So we always keep our wood chips moist, and that prevents any fire from happening as well. So fire thing is a total baloney. So let me dig through these wood chips and let me show you all of these wood chips that have decomposed into this rich organic matter. And check it out, here's our friend, here's the earthworm. Wow, this smells so earthy and rich. Oh, this is the good stuff. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this clears up a lot of misconceptions and you can use wood chips safely in your garden. And if you like this video, consider subscribing and turn on bell notifications, and I'll see you in another video.